Bleed black and gold, buff forever. You already know, man. It's your boy, T Green, and I'm back with another one.
What's going on? What's going on, man? If you don't know, now you know. Now, y'all, the Big 12 Media Day was a true success. For those who don't know, we had our quarterback, JuJu Lewis and Kaidon Salter out there. We had our offensive lineman, Jordan Seaton out there, cornerback, DJ McKinney, and our kicker, Alessandro Mata, Mr. Don't Miss, was in the building. But most of all, we was hyped to see Coach Prime out there. Yeah, man. You got to go ahead and give a round of applause and give all grace to God and give him thanks, man, because we was all praying for Coach Prime, and I know I was truly excited to see him walk up on the big stage and conduct the interview. So we got to talk about, some of the key things that went on at the Big 12 media event, besides the players turning up and representing for ICU Buffaloes in a good way. A lot of the key highlights came from Coach Prime. Coach Prime pretty much talked about a lot of key points, and I know the biggest elephant in the room was his health update and his personal focus. Like, what is he focused on at the moment? But you already know Coach Prime got a lot of swag in him, man, and he pretty much, deflected that and pretty much gave all grace to God, and, he here. So, man, it looks good because at the end of the day, man, Coach Prime is in high spirits, so we already know all is well. Now, Coach Prime did not directly address his health, but he appeared strong physically, like I said, and he mentioned about losing 14 pounds and all of that good stuff, but he still gave thanks to the Big 12 coaches, for those who have reached out on the daily, making sure Coach Prime was good, and to the commissioner, Brett Yormark, for their support and just giving him a good positive outlook. And that's what we talking about. And I can't forget, he did shout out our athletic director, Rick George. He pretty much said Rick George was calling him every day, making sure everything was good. And this is the kind of love and support that we want. For our coach. Now, with that being said, the big news of the day, which everybody is waiting on, is when is Coach Prime gonna return back to Boulder? And man, we got an update on that. He said, quote unquote, I won't say he said, but he is expected to be back within 1 to 2 weeks, y'all. Yeah, so he's looking to return by July 27th. So if all go as planned, Coach Prime will be back out there in Boulder. And he pretty much answered a lot of questions that was thrown upon him, and he and he read it for him. And one of those questions was pretty much like, what would some changes here making college football? And Coach Prime called out a significant change in college football, particularly advocating for a salary cap. You know what I mean? He pretty much want to put a cap on this thing. Like, it's getting kind of crazy. Like, you get some of these players and dudes offered, 1 million here, 3 million there, 5 million there. Like Coach Prime said, these dudes not even in the portal. Like, it's kind of crazy. You know what I mean? So he pretty much spoke on that equality. You know what I mean? Taking a stance and pretty much putting a salary cap on this thing. And he also spoke on, let's have these NFL rules applied in college. If these guys want to be pros, go ahead and start playing like a pro now. For example, rules like pass interference as a spot foul, regulating transfer portal tampering, stuff like that. Now those rules don't apply to NFL, but just if you doing a transfer, you in the transfer portal and you tampering around, hey man, we got to have some regulations on that. And most of all, he pretty much want to enforce a uniform policy. He talked about it, which was kind of funny. These guys out here in these shorts of all shorts, I should say. It's not even football equipment these guys running around in, which is a good thing. That kind of stuff do need to change, man. But other than that, man, he pretty much expressed, like, adding additional coaches to the team. Like, we can't forget Byron Leftwich, a 10-year NFL quarterback, former Buccaneers offensive coordinator, and Mike Zimmer, a longtime friend and former Cowboys defensive coordinator, to his staff. So these two gentlemen, he would like to go ahead and put out there in Boulder, like, make everything official. Now, that would increase, the NFL experience from 160 years of experience to over 200 years when you combine all of the coaching staff and how many years they've been in this. Like, that's a lot, man. I mean, who wouldn't want to come and play for Coach Prime? But pretty much, the other elephant in the room he talked about is that quarterback competition and the recruiting strategy. Like, pretty much like JuJu Lewis and Kaidon Salter, they replacing Shedeur Sanders. Now, Sanders pretty much said he's still committed to that 40-40-20 formula. And for those who don't know, that's 40% graduates, 40% transfers, 20% high school kids in the program, which is kind of cool and it's been working. But the main thing is JuJu Lewis and Kaidon Salter, who is going to be that number one quarterback. And right now, Coach Prime say, hey, man, it's still up in the air. One of the reporters even asked about a 2-quarterback system. Remember, y'all got on me about that question, and I had raised that and actually did a video. Y'all go check my feed. Now, I said, man, could we be possibly looking to run a 2-quarterback type system? Everybody was getting on me like, man, nah, you got to make a decision. Like, y'all can't do that, blah, 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 blah. But it's a good question because I still think it could possibly work. But Salter may get the job just because he have just that little bit more far experience and he done been there, done that. But they both are very, very talented. So I'm curious to see how things continue to play out in that part. And other than that, pretty much, he just laughed and joked. I remember him joking about Texas Tech NIL spending and pretty much like they dropping that bag to get them dudes. And, he was just poking good fun at the coach because they go way back, like way back. So, it's all love there. But other than that, man, we're just excited, like I said, to see Coach Prime, and he got that ambition and that hunger and that, he's looking for that competitiveness in his players and just, just that uplifting spirit that Coach Prime brings to the table. But shout out to all those dudes, man. JuJu Lewis, Kaidon Salter, Jordan Seedon, and our kicker, Mr. Don't Miss, Mr. Mata. All those boys represented the program very well out there, man. I couldn't wait to see all the behind the scenes with them boys getting hyped, man. It was just, it's just the love for the program in itself, man. It's just official, like a referee with a whistle. But y'all know how we gonna do, man. We gonna keep our eyes and ears open, because you already know the motto.
You already know the motto, man. Another day above ground is what? Truly a blessing. Like, share, subscribe, tune in with your boy, T Green. And I'm going to be right back with another one.